I'm Akilah Hughes. There is a generation of Americans that feels disillusioned and disenfranchised from our political process.
Millennials, 1980 to 1990. If you were born between those years,
politically impressionable age during the post-9/11 era.
A politically unclaimed generation.
With ballooning government spending, 2 unpopular wars, and then the Great Recession.
Young people are not getting interested in politics.
But there is a movement that I caught wind of, and it could be a game changer. What if we allowed under 35-year-olds to be president?
Interesting question.
I could be convinced to support something like that.
Absolutely.
I do not.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
I don't.
Yes.
Crazy? Maybe, but hear this out. Just think of all the other fields and professions that millennials have revolutionized for the better. Education, tech, healthcare, name it, they've changed it. Why not politics? I want to help push this movement into the spotlight because something has to change.
For a variety of reasons, the needs of young people are absolutely not represented. In terms of the high cost of college, in terms of student debt, in terms of climate change, in terms of us moving forward against racism and sexism and homophobia, no, young people are not adequately represented.
History tells us that people who change the world are often young. They just need the chance. There was Alexander the Great, declared king at 20 and conquered the world by 25. Then there was Octavian, 18 when Caesar dies, and 31 by the time he founds the Roman Empire. Joan of Arc was 19 and leading the armies of France. And Thomas Jefferson with Alexander Hamilton signing the Declaration of Independence. But in 2016, well, not so much. So I gathered together some of the brightest young politicians and entrepreneurs in America to see whether the answers to our nation's problems might be found with youth. I'll be honest, I had my doubts. Are you happy with the current state of government?
Is anyone? How can you be?
Yeah.
No, I am not at all satisfied, nor should we be.
Yeah.
That's sort of... I'm Erin Schrody. I'm a citizen activist and a recent congressional candidate.
Do you feel represented in government?
No. We have a huge problem with representation. There is no one under 30 serving in our federal government right now.
Yeah.
There has never, in the history of our country, been a woman under 30 elected.
I didn't know that.
We need to have our voices represented in federal government.
Yeah.
Period.
Do you think that the youth is represented in the government?
That's a complex question.
I am at home with Terrence J. He is a TV host and personality.
I'm under 35. I think that it's our job to make sure that we're represented. I spend a lot of time at the White House. I'm always speaking up to politicians. There's just so many ways that we can influence the policies that we want to see passed and the changes that we want to see in this country.
The fact that politics in reality are different than politics in, say, Schoolhouse Rock, do you think that that's sort of the reason why young people are a little bit less engaged?
Our reality is very different. My name's Lindsay Horvath. Currently, I serve on the City Council in West Hollywood and spent the last year serving as mayor. You know, we're not buying houses as much, we're buying cars, we're starting families later if we're starting them at all. Those in power don't really understand what that kind of reality means.
Yeah.
I think young people are looking to create their culture, create their lives, and define who they are.
Lobbyists and corporations influence the law of nations. Status quo is really slow, like gridlock traffic in the snow. So write your congressman, oh wait, he's 98 and can't relate.
In the 240 years since Jefferson and Hamilton signed the Declaration, the path of America's youth has changed a bit. Now, instead of building societies, most are lucky to graduate debt-free with any idea what to do with their lives. Try Wall Street, do grad school. What's an app? Where did our big dreams go? Abe Lincoln told us, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. And the Declaration of Independence told us all men are created equal. Can't we be like Thomas Edison again? He said, there are no rules here. We're trying to accomplish something. And he was 22 when he invented the light bulb. These kinds of leaders still exist today. The Amelia Earharts, the Martin Luther Kings, brave soldiers fighting our wars. What if they were in charge?
A young president with an organic vegan kitchen, that'd be great. with a bed bigger than Lincoln's, food trucks all over the place. If a young person was in the White House, I'd never leave the States.
I wanted to hear from some people on the ground, so I called up a friend of mine who was going to the DNC in Philadelphia.
Greg Davis Jr. here, and I'm the special correspondent for Under 35 POTUS, and I'm at the 2016 DNC in Philadelphia. Are you happy with the current state of government?
Absolutely not. Realistically, in this country, if you want to run for a national political office, you need to have money in the first place.
I think that people are disillusioned because they have a certain idea of what politicians are like. There are a lot of good ones out there that want to do the right thing, and a lot of young ones.
There were indeed, and we met a few of them. But as Teddy Roosevelt once said, keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground.
President is a big one. I have to marinate deeply on that one.
Well, I think if you have someone who's a bit younger, they have a much better sense of the zeitgeist of the time.
If we're going to have effective government in the 21st century, we need folks that understand tech. And those folks are young, and in many cases, they haven't graduated college.
Day 3, some really impressive speakers so far, and none of them are under 35.
Why is the age of candidacy 35 anyway? The only real answer out there comes from John Adams. His reason? You have to pick some age. Basically, it's completely arbitrary.
When that was set up, I don't know how much longer than 35 people were living anyway.
Life expectancy was 42, so at 35, you was already, 2 feet into the grave. You gotta pace this thing out a little bit, give you something to look forward to.
Do you think that someone younger than 35 should run for president?
I don't know.
Why is it a good age?
I think there's a number of experiences that have to come into play. And I'm Justin Farid. I'm currently running to represent and serve in the United States Congress. I've been working since I was old enough to walk. In my family, we had a startup business. And even with that, I think it's really important that people have the experiences of working in the executive end of running a business. It's very difficult to get those into place before the age of 35.
The American public is ultimately going to vote. And if someone is unqualified, they will sense that by the time the election comes. I'm George Strompolis. I'm the founder and CEO of Fullscreen Media. I don't feel like it's a grave injustice or anything like that, but some of the best leaders in technology are under 35 years old. They're managing hundreds, if not thousands of people. I don't see any reason why those people shouldn't be eligible to be president.
The internet has allowed everybody to see on the other side of the fence, and you get to see into other people's worlds in a way that you never got to see before. I'm Mickey Meyer. I'm one of the co-founders of Jash. In the past, I think that there's been this feeling that politics is out of reach for anybody that's younger. A younger generation more often than not is going to shy away from it until it immediately impacts them. And that's what's great about the internet, right? It's like suddenly now you get to see how it impacts you.
Well, the answer is young people are not effectively represented. People who have so much idealism, who have so much energy, and by the way, who understand that if we don't turn around things economically, their generation, for the first time in modern American history, will have a lower standard of living than their parents. So I would hope that young people will get forcefully involved in the political process and help us make a political revolution.
We have a better pulse on the present and the future of the state. We are architecting the industries of today and of tomorrow. Who better to lead the policy?
God, you're killing it.
I love it. I care.
People out of touch, controlling too much, they're making the laws and they're breaking the laws. And people in their prime with a pulse on the times, they should be running the show.
But it's illegal because they're under 35.
And those are the years that you thrive. High five.
Lots of opinions, lots of opinions, a lot of charisma happening with the youth. I'm definitely just inspired. Will someone under 35 ever be president? I don't know. It's been an interesting few days. I've heard some good reasons against and some good reasons for. And you know what I've decided? Let's give the under 35s a chance, because with this generation, the sky's the limit.